Another nail in another nail in my coffin.
There's a good chance Uncle Pete won't be with us next week. He failed his test and lost the game. He hasn't covered Saw X. So, sorry Uncle Pete, game over.
Oh, thank God. It was only a dream. Shit. Okay. Let me get myself settled and we'll get started for my Golden Nail Awards. Hey, it's me. I'm back, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series Nails in a Coffin, where we learned that with great kills, there must also come great nails. Welcome back to my channel. Last week, I wrapped up covering all the Saw films in the franchise, except Saw X. I kind of learned my lesson the hard way on that one. Now, if you don't know, once I complete covering a franchise, I like to have something called my Golden Nail Awards, where I give out a Golden Nail for each of my favorite 1, 2/3, 4 nail rankings that I gave out during the franchise. I'm going to rank all these films as well, not including Saw X. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet. And once it does get released to streaming, I will cover it and add it to this playlist and probably update my rankings. But for now, it's just going to be the first 9 films in the franchise. In this video, I'm also going to discuss the films with the highest and lowest nails in a coffin average. And at the end of the video, I'm going to compare the averages for Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, Urban Legend, Puppet Master, and Hatchet, which are all franchises I've covered on Nails in a Coffin. We're going to start with the film with the lowest and highest average nails in a coffin. Slight correction to my previous week, Saw 2 did not have an average of 1.25 nails. I missed the nail rating and kind of goofed my averages up for Saw 2. So Saw 2's actual average is 1.5 nails in a coffin. So the movie with the lowest average was the original in the series, 1.4 nails. And the movie with the highest was the one that came out 2 years later, Saw 3, with 2.57 nails in the coffin. So it was the first in the series that had the lowest average. And I think what hurt this movie was there was only 5 kills I was able to nail because I gave away 1 pass. And I guess it was the first in the series. You want to get those kills in, so you got to make people make dumb decisions, which is why I think the original Saw came in with the lowest average. Again, probably only having 5 kills. Probably hurt it, but it is one of my favorite movies in the franchise. But unfortunately, it did have the lowest average nails in a coffin. And the movie with the highest average was Saw 3 with an average of 2.57 nails in a coffin. Now, I only gave one victim less than 2.5 nails, and that was Amanda for pouting her way to her death. A lot of deaths in this movie was because Jeff was being a dumbass. Everyone else had tried their hardest to survive. You had Detective Kerry, played by the lovely Dina Meyer, and she was only killed since Amanda had put her in an inescapable trap. She had done everything else she could have. Even the first kill in the movie, Troy, it was the same thing. Amanda put him in an inescapable trap. There was no way he could have ripped his jaw off in the amount of time that he had. And this is also a movie where John Kramer dies, even though he shows up in every other movie sans Spiral. And I gave him 3.5 nails coffin just because, you know, he is pretty smart in everything that he'd done and his plans. So, yeah, going back over it, Saw 3 deserves to have the highest average with 2.57 nails in the coffin. Okay, let's rank these films. Starting with number 9, I'm going with Saw 7/Saw 3D/The Final Chapter. Yeah, I didn't like this movie. The traps were all nearly inescapable since they were Hoffman revenge traps. I hated when Joyce Dagan died at the end and she was killed. She was completely innocent to be killed in that manner. And I didn't like it when Hoffman killed John's wife, Jill. I liked her in his movies, even though they did make the writing made her make some dumb decisions. But having Jigsaw's wife make dumb decisions really didn't fit right with me, which kind of soured me on this movie. I did like the ending with Dr. Gordon showing up, you know, to lock Hoffman away so he can starve to death. But I was a little annoyed we won't really get to see his comeuppance and what he deserves. And the 3D was really just unnecessary, only there for a gimmick, and I felt it came out kind of lame. And coming in at number 8, I went with Saw 6, another Hoffman-centered Saw movie, and this one really didn't work for me as well. The plot was interesting with Jigsaw getting revenge on the insurance agency, but I really didn't like the execution. It was more people in the hands, lives in the hands of someone else. They couldn't even try and save themselves. And the acting felt a little wooden and stale throughout the film, so I wasn't a big fan of Saw 6. 7, the most recent entry that I've seen, Spiral, the Book of Saw. At first, I liked seeing Chris Rock in a serious role. Then as the movie progressed, it really didn't work for me. He had this same squinty look for most of the film, like he was concentrating to come off serious and not comical. And then I realized I really didn't enjoy it that much. I kept waiting for him to do something funny or say something funny. Yeah, I just didn't think he pulled off serious that well as the movie progressed. But I did like the kills in this movie better than my number 8 ranked and 9 ranked movie. Number 6, Saw 4. This one was just okay, really not much to talk about here. I did like Eric Matthews' character, but I was let down by his character arc that ended in this movie. It was more traps where the victim's life was in the hands of another. Again, more traps from Hoffman, which I'm really not that big a fan of. He is sadistic, but his traps, I should say, lacked the charm that John Kramer's traps had. Number 5, Saw 5. I'll admit one of the main reasons I like this one is Julie Benz, who's one of my celebrity crushes. I love her work, and I just think she's awesome. The scene at the end with the saw blades going through their arms is just vicious and really well put together. I love the way it was edited. And like I did enjoy the ending of this movie, but I did hate that Agent Strom was killed because he was tricked by Hoffman. Because I liked Strom. He was one of the few people to survive a jigsaw trap, and it was a Hoffman jigsaw trap while you're at it. So I really did like him. I didn't like the way he got tricked at the end, but it was still a solid movie. It could have been higher, but because of his death, it kind of dropped it down a spot. My number 4 ranked film, Jigsaw. I really liked this one. It had a better twist endings than some of the previous films that were Hoffman-centric. There are a few twists in this movie as far as who was responsible for these killings and when they took place. And I'm sure I was shocked or confused when they saw John Kramer in this movie. And I like the way that Logan Nelson's story was told. Not sure if we'll ever see him again, but I wouldn't mind seeing him as the next Jigsaw, because I really like the way his character arc played out. And he had his own spin on the kills now that he was pretty much Jigsaw with his I speak for the dead, getting revenge on people who were killed unfairly. Yeah, this was a fun movie for me, and I really did enjoy it. My number 3 movie, Saw 2, another good one that I really enjoyed a lot. It was a cool twist that Amanda was one of Jigsaw's proteges after surviving Saw 1, the reverse bear trap. I like the twist on Detective Matthew's son being in a safe spot. And this is one of the first times we saw a time jump with different parts of the movie taking place at different times. And the way it played out, we really didn't know that to the end, so it was executed extremely well. And the part where Amanda gets tossed in the pit of needles still gives me chills. Shawnee Smith, excellent performance in this movie. And she even has a better performance in the movie in my number 2 spot. My number 2 ranked film in the Saw franchise, Saw 3. Even though I hated the Jeff character, which I think we were supposed to hate him, I thoroughly enjoyed the performances here. John Kramer, Amanda, Lynn, their whole interactions throughout this film was so very well executed. Lots of emotion that they put into their roles. And there wasn't a lot of movement, so they just did it with their eyes and their mannerisms. It really made me enjoy this film, and I was impressed with the ending portion. When you see how upset Amanda is and her choice to shoot Lynn because she found that letter, and we find out from later on in the franchise who sent her later, she's just like devastated because, she thinks she's losing John. She's jealous. And it's so much emotion from Shawnee Smith. She does an excellent, excellent job. I really fell in love with her in this movie. It was just, she chose to shoot Lynn, which caused Jeff to shoot her. And then Jeff killed John, which then caused Lynn to die. The whole ending was just so exciting and very well played out. So I really, really enjoyed Saw 3. And the number 1 ranked movie in the Saw franchise for me, no surprise, Saw, the original. The one that started it all. I even like that this movie majorly takes place in one room. It's not easy to pull off, and they killed it here. The score is fantastic. It sets a perfect stage for this movie. And how can I not talk about that ending? Easily one of the best endings in a horror movie in the last 23 years. If you didn't see it coming, it really hit you, and I love that. It's one of my favorite endings in a horror movie. John Kramer gets up because he was in the room the entire time. Dr. Gordon cuts his foot off, shot Adam, left him for dead. And then, Jigsaw leaves Adam in there. You see how Jigsaw calculated everything. Yeah, it's also one of the best jumping off points for an initial movie in a large franchise. I don't think any other movie in this franchise, can hold a candle to this one. It's just superior by far. Although I haven't seen Saw X yet, I hear it's excellent. But yeah, one of the best horror movies to come out since the 2000s. Yeah, easy distinction here. My number 1 pick for the entire Saw franchise, the original Saw. Here's a quick summary of my rankings. On to my Golden Nail Awards, where I talk about my favorite 1 nail, 2 nail, and 3 nail kills in this franchise. I didn't hand out the rare 4 nails in a coffin, so no Golden 4 nail award. Now, if I gave someone a half a nail, they're in the running for the full nail rating they got. So if I gave someone 1.5 nails in a coffin, they're in the running for the Golden 1 nail award, and that's what we're going to start with. The winner of the Golden 1 nail award is Amanda Young from Saw 3. I had to give Amanda the award because I loved her performance in this movie. She was upset and jealous the way Lynn was with John. She finds that letter from, at the time, an unknown person. She showed so much emotion without a lot of dialogue. And, you know, she died after she shot Lynn, who was Jeff's wife. And I still think she wasn't smart for shooting Lynn, which is why I gave her 1 nail in the coffin. And she really didn't learn that much from John Kramer, but she was really in love with him, or in love with his concept and everything. Just her performance was so good here, and I fell in love with it. So that's why I'm giving Amanda Young from Saw 3 my Golden 1 nail award. The winner of my Golden 2 nail award is Agent Peter Strom from Saw 5. This was a frustrating kill because I really liked him. He was a good cop. He didn't give up because he knew Hoffman was involved somehow. I didn't like how he was outsmarted by Hoffman. Now, one of the main reasons I'm awarding him the Golden 2 nail award is he already survived one of Hoffman's jigsaw traps, which was 100% set up to kill him. The trap was set up to be inescapable. However, he was quick to retrieve a pen from his pocket and give himself a discount tracheotomy. And yeah, that's impressive to me. He was a tough, determined cop, and I think he more than deserves the Golden 2 nail award. The winner of the Golden 3 nail award goes to Detective Allison Carey from Saw 3. Another victim that would have survived a trap if it wasn't made inescapable, and that was thanks to the winner of my Golden 1 nail award, Amanda Young. Kind of ironic. Yeah, she made sure Detective Carey couldn't survive. You know, Detective Carey put her hand in acid to get the key out of her restraints, which she did do. You know, she would have survived it if it wasn't set up for her to fail, and I wish they kept her on the franchise longer. I mean, it's partially due to my crush on Dina Meyer, but I think she was a great character. She just got robbed out of surviving one of Jigsaw traps thanks to Amanda, but that's why I'm fully confident that she deserves her Golden 3 nail award. Now, this is brand new, but I gave out a lot of passes in this franchise, and I figured, why not give out a Golden Pass award? I mean, it's my channel. I can do what I want. So, the recipient of the Golden Pass award is Joyce Dagan from Saw 7. I hated this kill most out of the entire franchise. He was 100% innocent. She didn't know her husband was lying about being in a trap, and there was nothing that she could do. It was all in the hands of her husband, who she kept encouraging to push through, and she did love him, but there was no reason for her to die, and it's just another reason why I'm not a fan of Hoffman Jigsaw. So for all those reasons, I hated seeing her die, and I'm going to give Joyce the Golden Pass award. Before I wrap things up here, here's how the average nails in a coffin for the entire Saw franchise compares to the average nails in a coffin for all the other franchises I've covered on this channel. And as you can see here, it means between like 1.5 and 1.9 nails seems to be the overall average for all these large franchises, which kind of makes sense when you think about it, that writers do have to make victims somewhat stupid, make them make somewhat dumb mistakes and decisions, so it's easier for the killer to kill them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a movie. But yeah, take a look at this. I just think it's fairly interesting. The averages aren't too far off of each other throughout all these franchises. Well, there we go, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the past 10 weeks of Saw films. I did, and maybe it wasn't too bad. It'll be a while before I watch any of these again, but I do still want to see Saw X. And let me know what you thought of this franchise. How did you feel about my rankings, the overall averages, and the Golden Nail recipients? I'd love to hear what you think. So thanks again. If you're still watching, I hope you hit that subscribe button. It'll mean a lot to me. I'd like to get to 500 subs by the end of the year. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to take 1 week off from Nails in a Coffin to work on some other projects. And I'll see you here in 2 weeks for a brand new episode of Nails in a Coffin. I'm going to be covering some standalone films for the rest of the year. No more franchises for a while. Thanks again, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Take care, stay safe, and be good to each other. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. And remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.